You ever stop and think about what's really going on behind the scenes when you pay for something? It feels instant, but there's this incredible hidden world of finance at work. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most important databases in our entire economy, the Clearinghouse. Okay, so let's start with something super simple, an everyday thing. You write a check. Maybe it's for rent, maybe you get one for your birthday. You hand it over, the other person deposits it, and then what? A few days go by and poof, the money is gone from your account. But what's the magic trick happening in that time gap? How does the system actually know where that money is supposed to go, and how does it get there safely? Right, so here's the thing. Your money doesn't just teleport. It's not Star Trek. It actually goes through this two-step dance. It's called clearing and settling. First, the transaction has to clear. Think of this as the verification stage. The system gathers all the info, makes sure everything's legit. Then, and only then, can it settle. And that's when the actual money moves. This little two-step is no joke, the bedrock of our entire financial system. So let's dig into that first step, a check. It looks like just a piece of paper, right? But it's so much more. It's a promise that's backed up by data. And that little packet of data is about to go on this wild, high-speed journey through a huge, totally hidden system that keeps our whole economy humming. Okay, but here's where it gets interesting. This journey, it's not a direct flight from your bank to their bank. Nope, it all goes through a central hub first. You can kind of picture it like a central matchmaker, connecting millions and millions of these little promises every single day. So who is this mysterious intermediary? Well, this matchmaker is called a clearinghouse. And honestly, a great way to think about it is like a grand central station, but for financial data. Now, what's crucial to understand is that it doesn't actually hold the money, not at this stage anyway. Its whole job is to just collect all the data from all the banks, sort through the chaos, and figure out the simple answer to one question: who owes what to whom? And here's how it works broken down. Step 1, all the banks just dump a flood of data on the clearinghouse, all the checks they've gotten. Step 2, this is where the magic happens. The clearinghouse database gets to work just crunching insane amounts of numbers to find the net position, basically the final score between every single bank. And only after all that, we get to step 3, where it finally says, okay, green light, move the money. So, if this clearinghouse is just a giant database, what data is it actually crunching? Well, you might be surprised to hear that it's all right there, printed on the check itself. It's kind of wild. Let's break down how this simple piece of paper is actually a super powerful packet of information. Yeah, every single one of those numbers has a job to do. That routing number, that's just the bank's address. The account number, that's you. The amount, well, that one's obvious, but it has to be perfect. And the timestamp, you might not even notice it, but it's absolutely critical. That little stamp decides which batch this check gets sorted into, which is how they make sure everything gets balanced out at the end of the day. And all this data collection, it all builds up to this one critical moment. You could call it the daily reckoning. This is the grand finale, where millions of tiny data points from all over the country come together in this massive, coordinated effort to balance the books for the entire system. Every single day. You see, the system just couldn't handle doing this one transaction at a time. It would be a total nightmare, just impossibly slow. So instead, the banks do something much smarter. They bundle up all the data from the whole day into these big batches. Then, at a specific cutoff time, they shoot these huge digital files over to a clearinghouse, maybe a private one or maybe the one run by the Federal Reserve, to get processed all at once. And doing it in batches like this makes something really powerful possible. It's called net settlement. Let me explain. The old way was called gross settlement. Imagine Bank A owes Bank B $100 and Bank B owes Bank A $90. In the old system, you'd have two separate transfers. Kinda clunky, right? But with net settlement, the clearinghouse just looks at the whole picture, does the math, and says, hey, Bank A, just send Bank B $10. We'll call it even. It's just so much faster and way more efficient. Okay, now we're getting to the absolute core of why this all matters. It's a concept called settlement finality, and it's basically the definition of trust in the world of finance. Once that clearinghouse says a settlement is complete, that is it. It's done. Finished. You can't take it back. It is irreversible. It's the point of no returning. And that certainty, that guarantee, is what stops the whole system from just falling into chaos. It's how you know for sure that the money that just landed in your account is really yours. Of course, a system this important has to have safety nets, right? You can't just hope for the best. One of the big ones is watching out for something called a daylight overdraft. It's basically when a bank's account dips into the negative for a little while during the day. The system keeps a very close eye on these to make sure that one bank's little hiccup doesn't turn into a giant snowball effect and create a problem for everybody. So we've walked through how the data zips around and how the books get balanced, but it all leads to the biggest question, really. After all that work, the data, the batches, the number crunching, what's the point? What is this whole incredibly complex system for? It's really easy to just say, oh, it moves money from point A to point B, but that's really only half the picture. The real reason it exists, its true function, is something much, much deeper. They don't just move money, they move trust. The entire thing, it's a database of trust. It's what gives us the certainty, the finality, the rock-solid reliability that lets millions of us, people, businesses, deal with each other every day without personally knowing or trusting one another. We don't have to. The Clearinghouse provides that trust for all of us. And so, you have to appreciate this. Every single day, this system performs this incredible high-wire balancing act. It has to be lightning fast. We're talking millions of transactions. It has to be perfectly 100% accurate, down to the very last penny. And at the same time, it has to deliver that irreversible finality that our whole economy is built on. It's an amazing feat. Think about it. This system has been evolving for decades, from paper checks to the digital files we use today. And that brings us to one last thought to leave you with. In a world of instant payments, crypto, and all these new digital ledgers, what's the next step? What's the next evolution for this database of trust? What's it going to look like in, say, 50 years? Now that's something to think about.